Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Hope you guys have all had a great Monday. Newcastle United have started their week off in Austria. We saw them arrive at their hotel last night, and then we've had a whole host of images coming out today of them doing their first training session, so we will take a look at them in a moment. I want to talk a little bit about the players who have gone out there, the players who have been left behind. Eddie Howe has taken a lot of players out on this pre-season tour. What does he hope to see from the players this pre-season? Again, he has said himself he wants to improve our offensive options. We've done the work at the back with Botman, Target, Nick Pope. We are still linked with bringing in players this window, and we already have too many in the squad. So I think it's going to be a big pre-season. I want to talk a little bit about that. We played Gateshead on Saturday as well. We won 5-1. Haven't really touched on that too much because over the weekend it was all about Paqueta, and I am still hoping to hear more on that one. But for now, we scored 5 goals, and there was some really positive feedback that came out after that game, so I want to talk about that a little bit as well. And as always, if you guys are watching my videos but haven't hit that red button, please do so. We are on the daily upload right now, and the pre-season's just started. It's only going to get bigger and better, so if you are watching my video and haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps. So we'll start off with the trip to Austria. Again, we saw Joe Linton post a picture of him and Bruno last night. Oh no, Bruno posted it of him and Joe Linton, but anyway, they were sat on the plane together, making their way out to Austria, and then a few hours later, we had the videos come through of them arriving at the hotel, which looked very nice. The views out there look very nice indeed. Normally, you go away for some warm weather training. I think, if anything, they've done a good job to get out of here because it's 28 degrees in Newcastle right now. I'm actually sitting here melting at the moment. It's 22 out in Austria. If anything, I think they've done the right thing. At least they're not going to melt out on the football pitch, but great to see them arrive. Again, the views of the training centre look absolutely phenomenal, if I'm honest. And again, we've seen players arriving. One player who hasn't gone, which was a slight surprise, is Javier Manquillo. Now, it's understood he's actually picked up an injury, and that's why he's not there. There was a few players who basically watching the videos, looking at the photos, trying to spot which players are there, which players aren't. The ones that we kind of knew of already that aren't there are Hendrick, Clark, Gale. We know that Clark is being linked with Sheffield United. Again, it's rumoured he could well be in Sheffield today or tomorrow for a medical, so hoping to see him maybe move on. Gale's being linked with Watford and Birmingham. But yes, the other one that was slightly unexpected was Manquillo is not there, and it's understood that's due to an injury as to why he's pulled out of pre-season, and not because he was left out. So really, again, I mentioned this earlier, we've taken a lot of players, considering we've also taken Kel Watts, obviously Anderson as well. Kel Watts, the only player to play a full 90 minutes in the Gateshead game that we'll come on to in a bit. Great to see Anderson involved. All of the players you hope to see are there. Great to see Bruno there. Great to see Botman, obviously, getting involved with the squad now. Someone else I was happy to see, Matty Longstaff. Matty Longstaff is there on the tour. There's a great photo of him, Dummett, Longstaff, Anderson's, the Geordie lads making their way in to the Austria training camp. So again, how much Matty Longstaff will be involved this season, we don't know. But going back to the fact that really we've got him to sign this 2-year deal, we sent him off on loan to wherever, he didn't get a game, and we'll bring him back. And it was rumoured that Eddie Howe had put him in the under-23s alongside Clark, Gale and Hendrick, but seemingly Matty Longstaff has grabbed himself a place on this pre-season tour. And again, we're going to talk about it some more on the fact that some of these players, it's a big chance. It's a big chance for someone like Matty returning with, you know, a new manager, in the sense that Matty Longstaff has just returned this season. So really it's Eddie Howe's kind of first look at him, at Anderson, and it's a great chance to maybe try and grab a spot. Again, you talk about some of the other players that are still in the squad who are also potentially linked away. You talk about someone like Fernandez. Matt Ritchie scored a goal against Gateshead, but again, there needs to be spaces made, not only for players that we've already brought in, but if we're going to go out and spend and make on more players, we need even more room. So for me, it's a big pre-season. It's a big summer for the transfer window. But it's a big summer for these players, for trying to keep their spot in the squad. And again, I think the transfers are only going to heat up more and more. We've had loads of links recently. Well, they've gone to Austria sooner than I thought they would. Again, it's because of the refurbishments at the current training ground. They are out there for a full 9 days. I thought it was going to be a couple of days there, the long weekend for the games, maybe a day or two after, then return. But no, they are there for pretty much a week and a half, and it's because they're trying to get out of the way of all of these diggers trying to get the training ground sorted. So in terms of transfers, it'll be very interesting to see kind of what Dan Ashworth gets up to while Eddie Howe and the lads are away. I've no doubt Eddie Howe has given instructions on the type of player he wants to see come in. We already know the kind of players we want to see come in. It needs to be attacking players. I want a pacey, direct winger, and I want another striker, a challenge with Callum Wilson. Not even necessarily challenge with Callum Wilson, but again, we just need more strength in that position. Again, Paquette is a man spoken about quite a lot, and if I'm honest, the talk is more in the direction of Arsenal, which is a little bit worrying for a fan who would like to see him come in. But again, it'll be interesting to see. And again, Eddie Howe has said himself that we need to go out and improve those positions. In terms of what I hope to see going into this pre-season, again, is how do some of these players get on? You talk about Lewis as well. He's a player that I think many thought's career could have been over at Newcastle. Quicker, sooner than it started, basically. He walked in, wasn't great, sent out and wasn't included in the squad. Again, is he now getting his second chance? You talk about someone like Dummett, who he gave a new 1-year deal to. Is he going to be able to push Matty Targett in that left-hand position, or is Lewis going to be the one who's going to try and push? I think we know Matty Targett will remain the number one left-back, but again, it's when you're coming into picking this 25-man squad, how many left-backs do you need? Do we need Dummett and Lewis? Now you look on the right-hand side, do we need Trippier, Kraft and Manquillo? You're looking at, are we going to try and make room for a Kel Watts, who's, again, 22, and I would still say young player, but Botman's the same age, and we've just brought Botman in to challenge for a number one spot. So is Kel Watts ready to join the squad and be a fourth or fifth choice, or would he rather himself go out on loan? So again, there's decisions to be made there, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. You talk about the games coming up this weekend. So the first one is against 1860 Munich. That is on the Friday. Again, we'll talk about the Gateshead game in a moment, but we didn't get any live stream. We got a bit of highlights after, and it looks like that's probably the way things will go with these two games this weekend, which is unfortunate because I'd love to be able to watch along. So Friday, it's 1860 Munich, a lower division German side who, again, we should hope to be looking to beat. And then we're stepping against Mainz on the Monday, which is certainly a step up from the Gateshead, from the Munich game. They are, and I think they finished 8th in Germany last season. So again, and we'll touch on this in a moment, I'll touch on it now. We then go and play Benfica, and then we play Atlanta and Athletic Bilbao. Atalanta, who finished 11th in Italy, Atletico Bilbao, who finished 8th in Spain. We're playing that Monday game in Austria against Mainz 05, who also finished 8th in Germany. It looks like we are trying to possibly, face off against teams in similar positions in the leagues that maybe we want to try and finish ourselves this season. So there is method in the madness. There's always method, and I do think that is a great way to do it. Start off with a potentially a more fitness warm-up game against a lower level side, and then really bring it when we head into that Mainz game. In terms of what we've seen so far, now again, we want to see more of this, and it's kind of touching both at the same time, because what we want to see obviously is players stand up and show what they can do in this pre-season. So what have we already seen in the Gateshead game? Now obviously the highlights were limited, but I've also gone off what Eddie Howe has said in his post-match interviews. So for example, Richie got a goal to start with. I've mentioned him already. I've already mentioned Targett, Lewis, Dummett, now Richie as well. Are we having all of them? I think Eddie Howe likes Richie because he's known him from previous. You'll know the Eddie Howe way, and we already know how hard Richie works. So I can see him potentially being in there for that, but it's just how many players. I understand what Eddie Howe wants to do, is he doesn't want a big turnover. He doesn't want a big change. I think having Dummett, local lad, Geordie, can do a job, will know the back room, but you can't have that many of them players when we're trying to bring more in as well. Almiron scored 2. I know there's a lot of love for Almiron on this channel because last time I had a go. Last time I questioned his stats and you guys weren't best pleased. So I think the fan base is a little bit 50-50 on Almiron. But again, you're talking about players who need to come out and press. There was lots of links with him potentially even leaving this summer. His game time dropped. We've talking about the stats. He got 1 goal, 0 assists in the Premier League last season. Comes out, scores 2 goals against Gateshead. And yes, I know, Gateshead are a promoted side and had an extra week's pre-season, but generally we expected to beat them. And yes, people will probably turn around and go, well, he scored it against Gateshead. I think the fact that he came out and scored 2 goals, and if you watch the highlights, he was doing what he should have been doing way more this season. He goes down the wing and far too often he turns back and passes it backwards. He did not do it in this game. And again, whether it's because it was lower league opposition, because it was red hot that day as well and everyone was knackered by then, who knows. But he clearly showed some effort to get in there, get the shot off. Both goals, not quite as dramatic as the Crystal Palace one and the way he turns in and put the top corner, but both goals were cut in left, shot off. And that's what we want to see from him all of this summer. Again, his position is under threat. It's that right wing position we all looking to try and strengthen this summer window. And for someone like Almiron, who again scored 2 against Gateshead, if he wants to keep that spot, he's going to have to prove it now. Because I don't think again, for me, you guys will probably, some of you might disagree, and I know some of you already do disagree. I think for him, I don't think he proved it this season. I think he needs to go and prove it now. Joelinton scored a goal as well, scored a penalty. Obviously, the penalty's not too much to go off, but what I did notice is Joelinton's ability to push forward. I know that when we brought him in, he was a striker. Then we moved him back into midfield, and I think Eddie Howe has probably found a position that he will like to play him in. When we talk about bringing in attacking options, I don't generally think he'll go, right, Joelinton, let's give you another go up top, because he's been so good in the middle. It would be a change to the way we've played to do that. But from what we've seen in the very limited clips in the Gateshead game, he's a big guy, isn't he? He's got long legs. He's very powerful going forward. I'd love to see more of Joelinton in those attacking positions. We saw him do it against Norwich. And when we talk about having those options in attacking areas, I see no reason not to go, right, Joey, we're 1 down, let's move you there. Let's try him here, try him there. And again, Joelinton, I just think he's got that much confidence at the minute, we could probably play him anywhere and he would do a good job. So I'm hoping to see him do well. And then just to mention the other goal was Sean Longstaff as well. Obviously, he's had the contract extension. I do think we've brought him in as a bit of a squad player, but still, he got on the score sheet, and by all means, from what I saw, I thought he played well as well. The only thing to quickly touch on as well was the goalies. To be honest, I'll be interested to see what happens with them on this pre-season tour. Again, we've got 4 of them, we don't need 4, so one's going to have to go. And at the minute, Dubravka's the one being rumoured to leave, which I really hope doesn't happen, because that's a completely backwards step in the reason we brought in Nick Pope. I want to see Dubravka and Pope fight for that spot and, you know, do what's best for, again, the club. And if you don't make number 1, then be the best number 2 you can. Dubravka is potentially looking at a different way of seeing that, and if he doesn't get number 1, it sounds like he might want to go. So yes, I am hoping to see a lot from this pre-season. Let me know your thoughts down below on players that you hope will stay, won't stay. Is Eddie Howe right to take all these players out there with him? I mean, he might as well have a look at everyone, but do you think the likes of Richie, Lewis and some of the others will all be there, or are we going to have to move on more? Again, Clark, Lewis, Gale, all linked with a move. We need more room than that. That isn't enough. So let me know your thoughts down below. I mentioned Paqueta in this video already, and if you want to hear a little bit more about him, click here. Again, it sounds like Arsenal are the ones leading the chase, but Newcastle are reportedly certainly looking out for him at the moment, and he has asked to leave Lyon this summer, so I think something will be happening, and I'm just hoping it's Newcastle who act on it first. Alright guys, thanks for watching, enjoy your day, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you later.